think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not trust friends.
You know, I did happen to attend a graduation ceremony for my daughter, grade 8. So
congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I did it.
Fun.
Like the level of congratulations that I deserve really equals the amount of that a kid in grade 8 deserves for graduating a man. You know, they just push you through anyway. They were pretty fired up about it, which is fine. You know, it was good. I'm proud of my daughter. I don't want to give anyone the impression that I'm not. But so anyway, they got their little ceremony. But one thing I noticed is that all the grade 8 boys have the same stupid fucking haircut. I don't know if you guys seen this around.
Not the broccoli.
The broccoli. It's like I've compared to like a puffed up cloud, and they all do it. And I never thought I'd get to the point of being an old man who's like mad about the hairstyles of kids, but I'm there, man. And I feel like just fucking get a mohawk, grow your hair long, do something, but have some self-respect. Don't do this like perm thing that guys are doing now.
I gotta see this. I'm sure
I like
have.
that. Yeah.
I think I know. What did you call it, James?
It's like a broccoli
haircut.
It's actually a big beef for all other generations except this current one.
Okay. Yeah.
They're staking their territory for sure. Like no one has ever had or wanted this. Yeah, I think no one else.
Well, you know what the big thing with kids is, this goes straight through to. I don't think you break free of this until like your mid-20s, but you're too fucking stupid to realize that fads exist, and that you've been fucking pigeonholed into a fad, and you look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you know, guilty. Had some weird fucking jeans in the day, I can tell you. Some weird shoes. Weird shirts.
All their kids are gonna like look back on this and they'll be like, Dad, you had the stupidest fucking hair. And they're like, yes, I did. And you know, they just don't. You can't see it in the moment.
Yeah, but I mean, now they have the internet too, so I think it's extra frustrating because you could Google that you look like a fucking donkey, and you could sort that out, but you're not, because for whatever reason you want to look like every other fucking dummy.
Yeah, because you get the impression that girls are going to want you to look like that, and girls don't give you
correct?
Any other impression. Well, I'm not saying
that's
it's
exactly
true, you know, but like that's, you know, it's for young boys, I guess, and for girls, and I don't know, just sexual desire in general, you end up engaged in these trends because you think that somehow it's a pathway towards the satisfaction of something or other.
I think
bummer for these guys.
Yeah,
I guess you're right. I guess bummer for these guys that any girls over 19 like beards, so they're just fucked. They just look like they're just a bunch of incel dipshits. It's a sad path.
Oh boy, maybe this is the, you know, I think once we were talking about like where this anti-sex trend, you know, comes from, and it might just be the haircut.
It's forced. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
anti-sex. I'll put that out there right now. Anti-sex is not a choice, and if it's positioned that way, you're just everyone's lying to themselves.
Yeah. You know what was a better time? Like the mid 1980s, where in Japan, like everything was super pro-sex.
Yeah, definitely. There was no taboos.
Oh boy.
Definitely no art which managed to like to have to break through taboos, or even show anything that wasn't like just very pleasant. And I remember those times. I remember those times as very, very good times. You guys remember those times?
I remember those times vividly.
Yeah.
In Wicked City?
In the Wicked City, man. What's something funny about this movie? Anyway, Extinction Agenda, James,
and Chris.
And we're going into the I was gonna say deep, but I'm afraid to use that word. Yoshiaki Kawajiri's early filmography, early anime. Not his earliest stuff, man. This dude had a career, my goodness. But this is first feature film, and then I think he did a television show in between this, and then Ninja Scroll. I don't know. Actually, I hadn't really. I should know this better since we were going to have the conversation.
Wicked
But
City
I haven't
came
seen all of his
first,
stuff.
then Ninja Scroll.
Say that again. Sorry.
Wicked City came first, and then Ninja Scroll was after.
Oh, did I say it backwards somehow? No. Yeah. It's Wicked City is his first feature length film. But prior to that, he had been involved in animation for a good while. Interestingly enough, he was part of the original Dororo cartoon way back when.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. That was like his first job, I think.
Wow.
Interesting. Yeah. Way back in the day.
Bet he didn't do it like this though.
No, nobody to my knowledge did it like this. Did it like Wicked City. And maybe still doesn't, and maybe rightly so. James, you just watched this movie. Chris, had you seen this movie before?
No, I'd never seen Wicked City before.
Okay, all right. But you've had a little while to marinate in it.
Oh boy, have I ever.
Yeah. And James, you literally just finished watching it for like the first time. Okay, so, I know it's hard after something like that washes over you to like kind of come to grips with it, but I don't know, give us a first impression. What's the vibe, man?
Yeah, it was okay. Well, it's a porno.
Okay, good.
So that was, I think more shocking for me is that this animation team clearly has some kinks that they treat us to in Ninja Scroll as well as this, but this one was very aggressive. And there was a little bit of I don't know what came first here. It's Dragon Ball vibe, but there's a little bit of a Dragon Ball old man pervert vibe there with
Master
Giuseppe.
Roshi.
Yeah, a little bit of a Master Roshi vibe, and then I got this one was English dubbed all the way, which I like because I don't know, it gives you a little more ability to hone in on the animation sequences. That's like a preference thing, I guess. A lot of people like that, but and then I guess you got was the plot really that great? Like you guys really are keen on this, right? No,
it's not that the plot is great.
No, so as I said in the chat, and as Chris hilariously commented on, this was meant to be like a 30-minute movie. And then for whatever reason, the producers were like, actually, we want it to be an hour and a half or an hour and 20 minutes. And he was like, okay, time to restructure this whole fucking thing and like put in this and that. And like Chris said, it looks like he just filled it up with just sort of hardcore fucking scenes and weirdness.
Yeah, and there's a lot of we're doing a bit of a Constantine vibe because they're like these whatever human agents teamed up with agents from the
Devil
black
World
agents, Devil World, and they're breaking through barriers and this little pervert man can make a treaty. But I don't know that I took away more than that, except for like the really aggressive porn scenes.
It's true. I think we could sum up the plot as Giuseppe is not able to avoid seeing a sex worker for a night, so he runs away, causing a massive security breach that like fucks everybody. Almost literally, but
that sex worker was going really well for him at first.
It was. No, but the whole thing is like, and this and Ninja Scroll share this in common, like the perverted, manipulative old man at the center of everything. Like
it's true.
There's a real sense that he's like done a Nick Fury on this shit and highly manipulated everything. So like even when he's at the sex worker and like that's all part of the act. And what he's ultimately trying to do is set up a scenario where our main characters, whose fucking names are completely escaping me.
Taki and Maki.
Taki and Maki.
Rhymed, but...
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. I wrote down all the names from Ninja Scroll, but just to keep
guys.
Anyway,
I feel like you guys maybe didn't respect this movie to the full extent that it deserves.
I've seen this movie 5 times.
That's a lot of respect. Okay.
Yeah, I love this movie, and that this movie, Wicked City, is the reason that we're doing the Kawajiri That said, I don't know. I kind of just share James's initial sense of like, I'm not sure what to talk about other than, I don't think it's just porno. Yeah, like that's pretty clear. Like it's sort of Lovecraftian horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
Go
fact,
on.
it's like hentai that decided to take itself seriously, which is a really rare formula. But yeah, there is that sort of like noirish element. It looks cool. There is that Lovecraftian kind of tentacle horrors. Yeah, like James said, the plot is very thin. It's basically two bodyguards or like blackguards who have to protect this dude, and yeah, I don't like it's really
Dude's
not. It's more about the tone of it, the like Cronenbergian body horror of it that it made an impression on me.
Yeah. Like, so I put the first. It was last night. Cynthia and I we'd watched Twin Peaks, and we're going through season 3, and there's just a few minutes, afterwards, and she was like, "Want to watch a trailer or something?" And I was like, "No. Let me just." Actually, no. She asked me like, "What are you guys talking about tomorrow?" And I was like, "Let me show you."
Oh boy.
So I cut straight to the sex scene that opens up, and she's like, "Oh, yeah,
God.
that's pretty hot. That's good." And I was like, "Yeah, just wait." And
yeah.
when she immediately starts turning all like into this insect bug creature and like crawls around upside down exorcist style, like there's
Just
a real
bites his cock off with a
yeah. Luckily he manages to escape. Like there's like women as well, this is just part of the talk about this, but I mean, like women in this are very powerful, but at the same time they're also extremely, they just become sex objects. They're openly raped in multiple occasions,
or they will poison the shit out of you.
Yeah, right.
For intercourse, yeah.
And so there's a real concern with Kawajiri here, and it's from like, this is based off a novel, but my understanding is that he didn't follow the novel very much. He just kind of like took the vibe, and the writer of the novel was like, yes, nailed it. But yeah, just and so it's strange to think that basic concept continues through to Ninja Scroll, because like if it is meant to be an adaptation of a novel, you'd think that part would fall off with Kawajiri, but he at the very least early in his career, he definitely kept it. This women are powerful, women are objects, women are dangerous, women are poisoners. They're also the individuals that you fall in love with in order to heal the world. Like very complex stew.
Yeah. I want to get at this, especially in Wicked City, but yeah, for sure. Here's a great. I was looking at some early. I found out like a website that collects a bunch of reviews of Wicked City from the 90s, 80s, 90s. There's just one passage I thought was really interesting in terms of just considering the impact that this would have had, maybe just talking about the sense of design and how people haven't really seen anything quite like this before, like the sort of like Blade Runner-ishness of it, the neo-noir, and just this quote here. Color is especially well used, with each stage of the story cued to a complementary hue. Steel and electric blues are our initial entry into the dangerous sin-filled city. Icky earth tones accompany the queasier biological mortifications. Destructive interdimensional power surges come in violent violet bursts, and the ethereal endgame is washed in purifying white. And as what happens with the best Japanese animation, Wicked City's technology-hobbled pacing eventually invests the films with a particular poetry of motion. I thought that was really nice. It's Bob Strauss in Animation Magazine from 1994. But like really, really nice summation of the sort of palette and all
that. I think it goes to show that like where everybody had landed by like that's 7 years later than when this thing dropped.
True.
And, like
yeah.
So the initial response not so favorable.
Okay.
Again, this is just from Wikipedia, but anyone who was reviewing it at the time was just like, this is pornographic, this is misogynistic, it's violent, it's not like Akira.
That's absolutely hilarious because like a lot of the 90s reviews are like, oh, it's comparable to Basic Instinct, which is not fucking true. This is way harder than Basic Instinct.
But yeah, I can see like in an era when the erotic thriller had reached its sort of like peak, like in the form of Basic Instinct or whatever. Like, that's a culture that's ready to, and it's also like getting back to these concerns about the Japanese that were evoked by Showdown in Little Tokyo, and which are still sort of ongoing and part of America's fascination with Japan at this time. It's all the more striking, that it is about, this demon world and the dangers of women and so on and so forth. But it's I've only seen it in the English dub, James. I don't know if there's a version out there that has the subtitles. There probably is.
There is. I watched a bit of it too.
Oh, did you? Okay, all right.
Yeah, because I re-reviewed the pornographic scenes after the fact.
Well, rightly so.
Just had to double check on that tentacle stuff. Yeah. This was an interesting review I found that I think like kind of sums up what you're saying too. But it was like this guy wrote once titillating, now aberrant. And he describes being in his youth that he sought out extreme forms of entertainment. This was a reviewer, and then reviewing it now, like rewatching it now, just found it like basically just like triggering pornographic, just like displays of extreme rape or whatever, and just that it didn't hold the same artistic value that it did for him in his younger days. yeah, which I thought that's neat. For me, seeing it at this age, like, I mean, the animation studio is so fantastic, and I know what you mean, Chris. It has like, there is like a detective vibe to it. Like, I really like the pace at the start with the cigarettes and the internal dialogue. There's magic, and there's these guys are like a special guard, right? A black guard. So I don't know. There's some really like cool elements to it. And I don't really think the scenes were muted, and like, I mean some people probably don't feel that way, but I found they were muted enough to be like to move the story forward or whatever, but there was a lot of porn.
Yeah, I think that it's integrated into like the story is actually taking primacy, even though there's a lot of porn, which is like, it's a weird conscious decision to make that. Like, I'm not just making a smut movie. There's a reason for all of this.
It's not, yeah, and I mean it's mostly like, it's not like exciting smut. It's like demon horror, body horror, like it's monstrous. Like, people are melting, demons are mutating. It's a lot to take in.
Oh yeah,
if you're aroused by that, kudos.
when the old man goes to the sex worker and he's like melting into her body, like that was
very Ito.
Yes. Very Ito. One element of this that I just like, I think on maybe this is giving the movie too much credit, but I did reference Cronenberg. I think that there is a level that it's working on that, where it's like there's a lot of the idea of like just this libidinal space of like dark desire that is underpinning everything. The really, when you find out that the old man is like just this horrific sex pest, is when they're driving him in the car, and he's just talking about, what happens when you bang him, like the dark worlders. And he's just going on and on about what an experience it is, and like, how everybody would want that. But
what a beauty.
But the description of the description of the experience is very particular. Like, it's just like they'll take and take and take until you beg for them to stop, and then you'll beg for them to start again. Like it's a Hellraiser kind of thing. Like, this is pleasure and pain. Angels to some, which is why the sexual violence of this movie, like, fine, it's not going to be to everybody's taste, whatever. It is high. It's like to the extent that it's appropriate for a movie like this, where like
Yes, I
most
agree
of
with
the
that.
sexual violence is demonic. Like it's literally demons perpetuating. Like the rules are different over there. So when she breaks the rules, she like a parasite like, enters her and like rapes her mouth for a while, and then she ends up like chained up in some dungeon where all the like to be used for men to like slake their thirst or whatever, and like it doesn't really affect her. Like later on, she's gonna have like earlier she had been raped like in bed, and it's just like it feels like it's just part of that world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
'Cause, like,
it's
later-
funny.
yeah.
There was almost when he when that first demon arrives at the hotel and throws off their sort of secret service.
Mhm.
And he pins her down on the bed, and he's got his hand on her, and he's giving her the business.
Yeah.
She's like letting that happen because she could have strangled him with her hair at any time or used different
Her
powers.
nails.
So it's
Yeah.
funny that it's like and then when the other agent comes in and like Taki or whatever and
Yeah.
just fucking blasts through this guy, she's almost upset.
Yeah.
Because like you say, because the rules are different. Because she's a demon, there is almost like a dark consent to that sequence.
Yeah, because psychotechnically, like symbolically,
Yeah.
this is an id space. Like it's like desires that you shouldn't have, and like that is what this world represents. And even I discovered something. I realized something absolutely amazing about this movie, that it absolutely perfectly adheres to the hero's journey of Joseph Campbell.
Oh no.
Where there's
Almost
like a
spit out my
call to
beer.
adventure. Like Taki like gets the sense of like the dark pleasure of copulating with the dark worlders, but he's not ready for it yet. He refuses the call because he's not ready to get his dick bit off. But then he meets a mentor who tells him about the pleasure of it. He crosses the threshold, tests an allies. Like every step, he approaches the innermost
Oh
cave,
my-
which is that like underground parking area, and then he comes back with greater wisdom and with the prize.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone ever tells you Star Wars, no, that's amateur shit. Tell them about Wicked City.
Yeah, you want to talk about that? That's a thank you, friend. What a great gift.
Wow, Chris.
I would never would have thought of that. You've thought about the hero's journey much more than I have, and God bless you. That's hilarious. But there's a conservative. Okay, so for all this violence and whatnot, like it is a typical sort of conservative kind of happy ending. It's
Mhm.
revealed that the pornographic, like the sleazy old man he's almost like he's almost like a god in this instance, like a trickster god. And, he's manipulated them into a loving union at the end. Like the whole end game of this is that like man and woman get together and have a child that allows like and I suppose this would have to be symbolically figured as like the proper integration of libido into the psyche, like a balance between the two things, so that way the wicked city can be not the wicked city anymore. Like civilization can come about, and that's the place where it ends.
Yeah.
Which is funny, like all of that gets lost so easily because it's both titillating and aberrant, as we've heard, and that'll fall by the wayside. Big important messages like that'll fall by the wayside over at the Wicked City. Which what was the fucking real name of this movie?
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was Wicked City.
No,
There's
the Japanese one is like Horrid Demon City or something like that.
Nice. You know what's fucking amazing about the ending too is that like we are, first of all, I think it's wild that we're just like this whole movie, this guy's been an aggressive sex pest.
Sorry, 1 second. It's
go ahead.
Supernatural Beast City. Just
awesome.
for the record. Anyway, continue. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So for the whole movie, Giuseppe's been like just this horrific sex pest, and like then all of a sudden at the very end, we just are taking his word that he needs them to be together because it's going to save the world. It's like we're not, he's just been a pervert the whole time.
Yeah, and I don't know what the demons want with Taki's jizz early on. Like
Oh, no.
the
That's
opening,
true.
the opening scene in this is like she has sex with Taki for the purpose of like having him come inside of her, and she's like, "I've got what I need," you know, and she takes it off.
It runs away, and
And
you're
they
like, wait a
don't
sec,
want that.
did he just impregnate that spider demon?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Which
so
is the
she
opposite
shows
of what
up
they want.
later. Yeah, like is she trying to like just like maybe I don't know, like what I don't even know what I'm trying to say because like it doesn't make any sense. Was the thought that like if he comes inside of her, he won't fuck another demon or you know like it's not
Yeah,
clear.
he's scared straight or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't even know. I think it's purely Giuseppe's plan to put them together. Like I don't think they know that they're compatible to breed, which is the whole plot. Like he says that they're the whole, because they will be not sterile and have a child, then the whole species will be healed, like both sides. This is the did you ever see that movie Bulworth, the Warren Beatty movie?
The
No,
what?
I do know what you're talking about though.
Okay,
Go
yeah.
on.
At the end of that movie, so he's like a disillusioned politician, and at the end, like he's like advocating for like just like interracial couples and all this stuff. And there's a quote at the end. He's like, everybody's got to keep fucking everybody until they're all the same color. This is Giuseppe's dream. Like this is what this movie is about.
That's some James Coburn talk, man.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I remember seeing him on Politically Incorrect once upon a time, and he was like, he just had this weird like James Coburn-esque speech. It was very entertaining and banal, but it's like everybody's gonna be, he didn't say fucking, but like, oh, eventually we'll have a whole new species, and he's like grinding his hips and stuff, and the crowd just loved it. Anyway,
there you go.
yeah, the living supernatural beast city. Yeah, the spider web lady shows up later though, and she's like, it's webs from her like vagina.
Yes.
And he's
They're
wrapping
very
it. She's
clear, showing how it spins.
yeah, right. Yeah, and she's like, she's wrapped up the happy couple and is torturing them. Like she's lashing them or whatever. Like I don't know what all of this serves. Like it operates on you have to take it on like a purely symbolic level.
I think that's true.
And just like try to like piece it to like, why is this happening? Because it can't just be back to what you were saying about hentai that took itself seriously. They're like, I suppose it's like horror hentai that took itself seriously, but the sex in this, and I think we already alluded, or we commented on it when we were talking about how there's various rules and all of the things that happen like can make sense because it's a bunch of demons. But that's what allows this movie to just sort of wash over you. Because imagine it was different. Like imagine it was like a porno, like a regular porno where like the plot shifted and it's a pizza delivery guy, and the plot shifted and oh my goodness, the plumbers here, like the typical sort of scenarios are, oh, I'm in the office and the boss wants to talk to me, that kind of thing. And this allows it to be all the things that they want it to be. Actually, frankly, I want to read them novels, but they're expensive. The English language versions of them. I was really curious.
Will you do a follow-up episode at some point? The last thing I really want to say with this movie is that it's just amazing. Like you mentioned the conservatism of this movie, but then like so the whole thing is like, this is going to be spectacular. This child's going to be godly, like it's going to change the world. There's pregnancy spiritual fireworks when they combine, and then the final part of there's a sort of like monologue is Chaki's like describing in her body, our child is growing, giving her a power we've never seen before. And it's just like, okay, so she's having a baby and then he's back to his job and then she's completely out of the picture, like just neutralized by the incredible power of having a child.
Oh yeah, and he's like, sorry, there is one more thing to say about Taki, and it's his incredible gun. I love
the demon killer gun.
Yeah, I love the conceit of that, and like you really can't control it. And like it bucks them all over the place, like it's a real experience every time he fires that thing, and like he's like slammed against the walls or whatever. Like he's got it. That's an interesting choice. You don't often see that. Like usually when the hero has the gun, they're self-assured and they're in control, like ta 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 ta.
I think I fully appreciated that, but that is cool. And I like the
Yeah.
weird sort of weightlessness, or almost like anti-gravity of the combat. Like just people are just kind of jumping in the air, floating slowly, and I don't know, it looks cool.
Yeah, but I think that like I kind of sidetracked, but on your comment about like where it ends up, like it is a long running series of novels, apparently, and so this is just part one, right? And so you can imagine the stories afterwards are going to like enter into sort of the banal territory of what happens with the child and so on and so forth, and but yeah, the fertile soil, like, yeah, so I'm looking at the end, and it's like they really focus at the beginning and the end on the city as this concrete beast, right? And we're coming at it from the clouds. It's like Neon Genesis Evangelion. We got the top view here, and there's these giant skyscrapers just way above everything, which implies it's like this is not a real place. Like the whole thing begins in fantasy right from the get, and it ends in with those same images, only in red, from blue to red. And it's very explicit, it's like the city is libidinous and there's craziness and stuff. And, we try to keep these structures whole. And yeah, in the end, they managed to do so. Just, status quo remains. Dirty rape monsters dealt with in the sort of Twin Peaks kind of David Lynch sort of fashion.
It's a good summation, honestly.
Wow.
So, which brings us to Ninja Scroll.
Yeah.
1993. So it's like 5 years later. Got a theatrical release in America. I think it was in 95. I might be wrong about that. It kind of flopped in Japan, is my understanding, and was only really popular, like gained a real following with Western audiences. But since that time, it's there's like an animated feature, like a TV show or a series. It too is inspired by novels, but earlier novels written in the 60s about the ninja, but the demon bits are added. So like sort of historical novels mixed with spy thrillers, mixed with, I don't know, fucked up Wicked City-esque shit. And you love this movie, James. You're a big supporter of the old Ninja Scroll.
Big Ninja Scroll fan.
Yeah.
Don't know why. I actually second guess after I saw the Wicked City like mouth tentacle that I have seen that before. But
okay.
So I might have been following around that animator a little bit at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But
because you had the Dragon Ball, not the Dragon Ball, sorry, the Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you guys were a little flat on Ninja Scroll, didn't care for it.
No, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm not flat on it. I just for me though, like if you had to choose between the two of them, like Wicked City's titillating and aberrant, and that's my vibe,
Yeah.
And Ninja Scroll feels in comparison, although like more coherent as a narrative, it's just like, he's out, it's a great superhero story with weird, it's very weird, like it's very good, it's very weird. There's lots to say about it. Like it's fucking cool.
Yeah, Jubei.
Yeah,
keep
yeah,
it
man.
up,
Jubei's the man.
Yeah.
He's the quintessential, like, whatever he is, a Ronin, like he's a vagabond.
Yeah, they don't use the word Ronin because he's not a samurai. He's a ninja. He's an ex-ninja. And Ninja Scroll, right?
Yeah, so she's like, she was offended at one point that he's just like a common vagabond.
Yeah.
But he's the best. But like this for me was just the animation pace is different. The animation pace is faster and it's aggressive, and then the violence is top tier for anime, like just like in terms of like wild blood spray and speed, and like this is sort of the type of ninja movie that people joke about, for animes, but a lot of them actually don't turn out this kind of result in terms of like action sequences.
Yeah. No, the action's incredible.
Yeah, and you can follow all of it. It's great. You can see, like, for me, I see a lot of like the stuff that this was built out of, which doesn't take away from it. Actually, if anything, it makes it a more impressive. Like all the that side running through forests and the basic plot and the the classic Tokugawa versus Toyotomi. Like a post-war era, that it's just all the classics, like it's a real classic sort of, and it's a classically positioned story that carries off, like you said, James, like the action's like great, and the manipulative old man who wants the younger people to have sex, like, makes a little more sense in this one.
He's a little bit better. He's more like a creep than a real pervert.
Yeah. Well, in the mind, like inside of every creep, I'm pretty sure there's a pervert.
Yeah. This animator, speaking of perverts, he really likes to like suck on entire faces and tits.
Yeah.
And again, like, no matter what, he's like, sorry guys, I have to have some tit sucking. No choice. Yeah. I animate it every time. These are your characters, already done.
Someone's tongue that's as big as a forearm is going to be sliding all over something.
Yeah. The difference, one of the differences between, because you're right, the tendency from the Wicked City tendencies are still there, but like they've, whereas in Wicked City, we'd see like the hand between the panties and stuff like that. There's a lot of like cutaway to the girl's face as she's experiencing both pleasure and horror. Like that's the way that this movie deals with that. So it is a little softer, a little, even though it's it's the same sort of titillation and aberration.
Even though the ninja girl's raped twice.
Yeah.
So a little more tame.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's they're back to your, like you're saying, Chris, back to your poisoner thing. She's sort of like, in a way, she's not a victim because these people are all gonna die.
Well,
yeah, I think that.
Go ahead.
I think that's her, like the implication is that she is an assassin who this is her job, like to seduce, to be an object that destroys men.
No.
You think she's pure? You think?
Yeah, because her job is to taste. She's a food taster. She's the meal taster, and she tastes, and she's immune to poison. But as a consequence,
she's taken.
It's through service. Yeah, it's through service of the state that she has become like this.
I didn't catch that. You're right, though. That does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, so she's like more like a rogue character. I did think of rogue when I was like, this is what rogue should be like. Not the rape part, but like.
Yeah. And the old man says that she's perfect. Anyone who makes love to her dies, so she's perfect in this amoral world.
Yeah. And I don't understand what that means.
I don't agree with it. No.
Yeah. I was like, is that just a translation? Is this like a Japanese thing where it makes a lot more sense if I hear it like as it was actually said?
And then he weirdly poisons Jubei in hopes that they'd be able to have consensual sex. For whatever reason, he's gifting them with the ability to do that with one another where they ordinarily wouldn't have been able to, and then it was a bust anyway. Very weird. I'm not sure what we were getting at there, but
that is weird.
Yeah, I think this movie too, because of the supernatural elements, like it too operates as a dream sequence. It's like on a more symbolic level, and it kind of allows you to be like, okay, well, this is just maybe it's not the hero's quest in this instance, but it's some kind of quest that ends with the prince getting together with the princess.
And she's not the only one who poisons too. Like the other, like snake woman, she's in her own way, she'll poison you from
but
genitalia.
she does it through the dicks. That's the difference.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's not healing when she does it.
No, there'll be a snake inside of her that kind of.
Yeah, that's a nice touch.
Yeah.
What do you think about the arm drinking blood?
I love that.
I don't know
I
why
love
that's
the
such
boss
a
battle of
scene.
this.
Oh, the final boss?
Well, no, it just feels like it felt like the perfect video game, like a sort of precursor to like Metal Gear Solid, like how amazing all the bosses are, and like just like you get to know them stage by stage. My only regret is that like some of them get disposed too quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, Chris. More than once I thought about video games in this one, and I think like it's to the benefit of the viewing experience, and that like you've got a straight sort of. I'm watching him glug the blood right now. And you're like, that's a lot of blood coming from that arm.
Oh
man.
Yeah. After he fights that guy, you're thinking to yourself, how the fuck is he gonna beat 8 of these guys?
Absolutely. You know what? I think one of my favorite things about this movie is how like he's getting punched by that guy and like just vomiting blood.
Yeah.
Oh, he's constantly vomiting blood. Like you can't do that and be okay, but apparently you can in this. Like again, and this adds to the dreamlike quality of it all. Like.
Yeah, well, Jubei's supernatural in his own right to be able to contend with this.
Yeah. I like that I love the bad guy with the strings. Like the spy master who controls all the demons, and he does it through these thin strings that he like has to hold in his mouth, and like I just on a basic design level, I think like Wicked City, and one of the reasons I wanted to watch these and talk about them, even though it's tough to like talk about design and sort of aesthetic effect, like I wanted to give it the effort, at the very least just wanted to like have an opportunity for us to be like, fuck, these leaps look great, this is amazing. And yeah, this it never misses an opportunity to be interesting. And
it's true.
Yeah, and that's frankly that's highest praise for me.
That snake woman too, like I thought she was fascinating the way like she appears and that like she just leaves her skin behind. She's already gone, and like it was nightmarish. It was really cool.
Yeah, and so Chris, you also liked was it like just that you liked that they were structured as like all boss fights, or that you liked the final boss with Gemma or whatever?
Oh, I like the final boss. I wish that there was more challenge to some of the bosses, like the that like rat woman, the one who's gonna like rig your body to explode with her.
Yeah, they had infighting, so you lost a couple devils there that way.
Yeah, actually, you know what? That is true, and I think that is like a nice element of like they can't trust you. They're so vile that they can barely cohere as a unit, even though they're like facing like single-handedly like an army of ninjas. What is if I understand correctly, the plot is that they need to investigate a plague, but there was no plague. This is the devils poisoned the town's water source, and they did that because they wanted to control shipping routes.
Well, they want to get a hold of the money. So the Tokugawa. So basically, this is a story about two crime families, and one of them came to power in Japan. And the older power is trying to get back, like on top. And one way they're going to do that is get a hold of all this gold from this ship that has run aground. So they and this is all very reminiscent of a movie called Goyoken, which was in 1969. But also like this stuff's based on novels, so the novel probably inspired Goyoken. But so they've got a fake plague, and then the devils are meant to like kind of actually initiate the fake plague, I suppose, just like manipulate the matters and just make sure the gold gets in the hands of the underboss. But in classic spy fiction way, like the bad guy is like, actually, I'm gonna take the gold and be the shogun in shadow or whatever they're called. And what our ninjas are Jubei and Kagero. They're basically foiling the plot of these terrorists for the shogun.
Right.
Again, it's a status quo thing.
Yeah. Despite her like completely disrespectful ninja clan leader, who's like, yeah. Just
no, there's an explanation.
Okay.
There's an explanation for that, because later on that dude shows up, right? And it's Gemma underneath. He rips off the mask, Mission Impossible style.
Yeah, that's right. And he's like, the Shogun's been dead for however long.
That's right. No, for a few days. No, he said for a few days I've replaced this guy. So like when we have that scene where he's fucking that girl while he's talking to Kagero, that's Gemma.
God damn it.
Yeah.
The movie is too subtle for me.
That's right, man.
Yeah. Did you miss the flames of hell?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I laugh every time.
That's another one where you want to hear like the original Japanese and like what they're actually saying.
Yeah, no, that is such a
well-structured.
It is such a well-structured final, sequence, and the sneaking onto the ship, and like the fact that it's all on fire, and it's like a precursor to. I would not be at all surprised if Game of Thrones like drew some inspiration from that with the gold, the molten gold, and all that.
Oh, there's another one when they did the Death of Wolverine plot, like stunt or whatever of like I don't know. I'm afraid to say it's probably a decade ago now, but the way that they did it was to have him buried in a wave of molten adamantium, like Gemma. Because like he's going to regenerate all the time, right? So how do you defeat him? But you also want to be able to bring him back. So anyway,
that's horrible.
Yeah. There's this thing's been around doing its work on people for sure since 1995. Ninja Scroll's at the bottom of a lot of stuff, man. Like, because what's his nose showed up in. Let's just look as far as the Matrix. And probably more Matrix Revolutions or Matrix Reloaded or whatever the fucking second movie was. Probably a lot more, because they tapped this guy to do one of the films in the Animatrix. So
no, that's a direct like they've acknowledged the influence for sure. Naruto is another one people were saying, which I've never really got dipped into, but people seem to feel like that owed a huge debt to this movie.
Oh, like Ninja Scroll. Oh, okay, all right. But I understand Naruto to be like really like for kids, like
exactly
a little boy show.
Right. So
maybe
like,
I'm wrong.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah.
I don't think you can be true to this movie unless you're hard as fuck. So unless Naruto is hard as fuck, I'm calling bullshit.
Yeah, because Jubei's really serious.
Yeah, he headbutts him into oblivion.
Oh,
you can't do that. You can't do that to another man. You can't headbutt their skull in without your skull suffering some. Well, you can if you're Jubei, I suppose.
He beat the bee guy. Love the bee guy. I don't know why.
The bee guy was good.
Kawajiri was I watched as much of the interview as I could. It was actually kind of boring, and it was all subtitled, and I gave up at a certain point. But he said the bees was really hard because you have to draw every one of them. And he was like, I drew a lot of those bees. It was fucking hard. And he also said it was very difficult to film, to animate, the final sequence with Gemma. Like all those moving flames and stuff, that smoke. It's very, very busy. Like I think that, and there's so much at work here. Looking at it now, and he commented, because it was like 10 years after the release of the film, and they were like, what's your recollections, and those are the two things definitely.
There's like fucking bees and flames.
Yeah,
really wish you guys would
never
come
again
back for a normal sequence.
Yeah, so there's and it's easy to forget that humans are drawing this shit, back in 1993.
It's true,
there's no dream of animation in this.
And like when you were animating like the best.
Oh, I'm sorry, not dream of animation. I meant computer animation.
Yeah, I mean, and the best animated things we had access to at that time are this. There weren't American animation was laughable. This is still holds up today.
So this and Disney that are the high bar in the West at that time, and
Ninja Scroll only.
Yeah, like I don't know. So the kids, like I've never really enjoyed Akira. The cartoon doesn't interest me. The comic book doesn't quite interest me.
Oh, it's pretty cool.
That's shocking, man.
Yeah, I know. Like I recognize that I'm really against the grain on that one, but it just doesn't. It never grabs me. For that reason, we'll have to talk about it. Like that reason alone.
Oh boy.
Maybe I'll come to grips with it. Anyway. So Akira's out. This is out. Like a bunch of stuff is out, but like Nausicaa, like Studio Ghibli's out at this point, right? So
So
the bar's quite high.
You've watched a lot of anime movies, a lot of samurai movies recently. But this wasn't terribly great for you. It was too supernatural. Is that what the?
Oh no, it's fucking cool, but it's not a samurai movie. It's a sword fighter. Yeah, it's a sword fighting movie, but like the samurai movies are all about honor and the class system and social consciousness and
No one has more honor and consciousness than Jubei.
Well, I'm not saying he's not. He has the spirit of the samurai within him. That much is clear. But
in music, he dirty things up.
Well, but he doesn't though. At any point, he does. He is very samurai-like. Because like she offers herself to him, and he's like, no. Like that's very. You can see. You could see that happening in the samurai trilogy.
But was he not a samurai shogunite when he decapitated Gemma the first time?
Oh, you might be. That's not clear. There's something. Right?
Or was he an assassin at the time or whatever, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the flashback, but fuck knows where that is. It's
Blind Guy was dope too.
I think maybe I found it. But yeah, like it's not that they're not wearing traditional samurai anything. They're all wearing robes and stuff like that. Like this dude's dressed like not a samurai. He shit, the internet connection's too bad out here, and I'm at the mercy of the Internet Archive too. That's another thing.
No,
getting this fucking cartoon is goddamn near impossible nowadays. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, did we lose a war?
I have a horrible bootleg of it that in the middle of the Gemma fight goes like pixelated and you have to fast forward.
Oh shit.
It's pretty gangster. Yeah, that's my best copy of it. I don't know.
Yeah, that shit costs hundreds of dollars on all the various spaces and stuff. Like anyone
reprinted. It's fucking awesome. What the hell?
Well, it's a rights issue. It's got to be a rights issue. Yeah. Well, the old Internet Archive, God bless them. Donate today, each and every one of you. You can get all the stuff that you want in various languages sometimes. Like there was Ninja Scroll in Portuguese or something.
And so, do you guys feel like the fridging was lazy or well placed at the end of the film?
Oh, good question. Was it a fridge? Okay, was it a fridging? I'm not being difficult here. I'm just trying to
I think so. It was. Well, yeah. In fact, he gets the Rambo 2 treatment. He gets the headband. From,
it's true.
Oh fuck.
Inspires him to.
All right. Yeah, man.
It was incredible violence.
I think everything in this movie is because whereas with the Rambo thing, you're like, no way. Like, where did that fucking romance come from other than Rambo's boner? Whereas this is like from the beginning, there's a chemistry between the two of them.
That's true. That's very true.
And so like by the time of this story, she's shown herself to be heroic. Jubei's of course the fucking number one man, and and she sort of offered herself to him. He's neglected, and so it's like there's been a courtship, and it's not just about. Well, I don't know. I guess I'm not sure that's what the Rambo thing was about either. But
No.
so anyway, it's a
because of tragedy, yeah. And he asks her, is your heart full of poison too?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I hate someone. I hate someone who doesn't know their own worth or something like that. Yeah, and that gets to with like the sort of samurai spirit of him. And this was the classiest fridging I've seen in a long time. It was extremely well placed, not lazy at all. Number one fridging.
You don't earn fridging. I didn't think we'd be awarding this trophy tonight. I'm glad we did.
I think it did so well that it actually escaped my mind as a fringe, because there was so much else to look at and think about, and it was like it's kind of part of the background. The hero loses the girl and goes.
Well, you did take her character right through to the end of the film too, so.
Holy fuck! I just noticed he rode a horse in the water to the fucking boat to fight Gemma. Awesome. What the hell?
No one's
what happened
better.
to that horse afterwards? You can't do that in real life. That's not back. That's just fucking like a dog. I don't know, man.
Just an extension of Jubei's powers. Part of the fridging.
Just like, you get frigid enough, man, you can swim a horse to a boat. That's magic things happen. That's wild. I'm just seeing that now. I can't unsee it ever again. This movie, it's totally dreamlike.
Who's your favorite Devil of Kimon?
Oh, the Snake Lady for sure.
Snake Lady has come up a couple times.
I'm very Snake Lady.
Well, that's where we get that Wicked City vibe, right, man? That's where we're getting it. And
I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't have made it past Devil 2.
Devil 1 was rough to say. I think he's got to be my favorite just because of his sucking abilities.
Oh, and the way he dies with. Okay, so here's another thing. This movie was supposed to be 2 45-minute long features. Maybe more beyond that. This again suffers from like producer itis, but Kawajiri just doesn't give a shit. He's going to produce a feature length. By this point, maybe he's just used to producer bullshit. No, maybe it's different because like in this case, the difficulty that he was facing was not like creating a bunch of bullshit out of whole cloth, but like taking something and suturing it together into like a thing. Because the reason I bring this up is because like the first bad guy, he takes a while. The first demon is it just feels like it takes up like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 25 minutes, perhaps longer, perhaps less, and that's a big chunk of 40-minute feature, and I just feel like he got more time than any of the other demons, but I could be totally wrong about that.
No, I think that there's a sense of that. Yeah.
And like he's cool and all, but I really, getting back to what you were saying, Chris, I really love the infighting amongst the demons and stuff. It's very Metal Gear. And the video game elements of it and stuff like there's Rambo's behind this. You even get like the headband thing, right? So what are the constituent elements of Metal Gear? I mean, there's a ton, but you definitely got the Rambo. You definitely got Ghost in the Shell, and you got this movie, Ninja Scroll.
And Rambo being an avowed influence, like just like a straight up acknowledged.
Yeah,
and this has a lot of. I don't know if you noticed, there's a lot of like varying sexual themes. There's people are celibate, people are perverts, people are coded homosexual, bisexual. It's a plethora of sexual choices.
That's true.
Yeah, and I think that's the Wicked City thing in effect as well, because like it's the demons who are anything but heterosexual, and Gemma is ultimately the biggest pervert, number one pervert, because he does it with men and women, and it's all about, but it's all about him at the end of the day. He's this like perfect force of desire and self-fulfillment, but also like capacity for violence. I always find it like that they don't show Gemma as a sexually polymorphous or whatever. They just talk about him in that way, which is kind of a cheat, because like his underling is coded super gay. Like, well, not even like coded, like he's just explicit, like, oh, you're in love with Gemma, he's fucking some woman as well, yeah, and all these jealousies are at play. It's just like the bad guys are it's the demon place is where you don't desire is out of hand, with all the conservatism that is attached to that.
Or the bad guys are the gays.
Well, yeah, but I think it's more than that, though. Like that's definitely part of it, but I think it's more than that, and I think Wicked City shows that it's more than that. Like the bad guys are not the gays in Wicked City. The bad guys are like the rapists. Like they're the ones who are sexually violent, and Gemma.
That's true. Yeah, even the spider thing lady is there's no consent in what she did. So yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I didn't think that there was like, because spoilers, man, I'd never seen Ninja Scroll before.
Yeah, that's right. You said that.
Yeah. Prior to us suggesting, and I didn't know that there was going to be a continuity in Kawajiri's works. I was just, I was kind of curious, like Wicked City was so interesting to me that I was like, okay, well, we got to talk about this. And you had said you had a copy. And I think that was the genesis of this. It was between my like love of Wicked City and your love of Ninja Scroll, and I was like, okay, between those two things,
two worlds united.
Yeah, that's right. Kawajiri is clearly operating on something, right? So, I'm the only thing I'm sad about is that we didn't watch Vampire Hunter D: Bloodlust. I would have liked to have seen like more of what this guy was up to and like kind of track how long the perversions last. I even want to rewatch some of his animation, his animatrix sequence, because like I think he does like what's that Demon Slayer or whatever. Like he has something to do with the animation on that too. Like
I think he does storyboards now. Like I was looking at his career, and he didn't produce anything past Highlander in like 2007 or something like that. But but he seems to get a lot of storyboard credit.
Okay.
So like on Demon Slayer, what? Now that I'm thinking that the action sequences for Demon Slayer is very, very aggressive in terms of action. That's a fun show.
Yeah, but I just feel like at a certain point, the Wicked City elements kind of like fade out, like get excised, from either through market forces or just Kawajiri. Like getting it out of his system. I kind of wanted to see that happen, that process over time, or maybe it didn't. Wouldn't that be the best if the Demon City can be found in all of his works? That'd be awesome.
It feels that way a little on these two.
Yeah, and well, we'll never know. There's no way we could ever find out. So we're just we're stuck with the mystery.
It's sad.
So anything else? Anything else about?
I think that probably covers it. What are we doing next time?
I guess question. Yeah. What are we doing next time? We're talking about Cable. We meant to do it for Father's Day, but it didn't work out. Another character study coming up. Extinction Agenda character study. Cable. He was on the list we were talking about. I'd be quite happy to just go through a bunch of X-Men, but at the same time, I also want to get into the weirdness of DC characters and whatnot. So yeah, and then I guess after that, Event Horizon, somewhere in there anyway. Audience. Watch the Event Horizon in preparation for whatever the fuck we talk about in the future.
If you can find Event Horizon.
Oh no, man, I got it on iTunes, man. I permanently rented that shit. It's around there. It's everywhere.
I know. Why isn't Ninja Scroll in there? Weird.
Oh, well, it's the rights, man. It's got to be the rights for sure. Yeah, and also spoilers for I keep saying spoilers. What the fuck? Like coming attractions. Can do the Grant Morrison's X-Men. So if you want to start getting into that might be a thing to do. Yeah. Well, that's a terrible end to the podcast, so I'm absolutely not going to include any of that. And
Great.
I'm just going to find the spot where we're laughing and fade out on that. All right.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. See y'all next time.
Now, all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.